There's also that instinct, which is also a spiritual instinct towards wholeness, completeness. See, the transcendent instinct kind of answers to the human desire for freedom, to wake up and out of all these limited identifications. That's the spiritual, that's the transcendent instinct. Wake up and out of all these limited identifications. But the instinct, and that can feel, when you do that, that can feel like a deep state of wholeness, or usually more like a homecoming, like you've come home in a way. You haven't actually gone anywhere, you've just realized your true nature. But there's also an instinct for wholeness. And it ties into the last little part of this phrase that Ramana used to like to use. The world is an illusion, Brahman alone is real. That's pure transcendence. Brahman is another word for spirit, emptiness, whatever you want to call it. And that's what it feels like. That's what's real. At that level of realization, like that's what's real, and everything else doesn't really feel very real or even very important. It has its dangers, as all things do, because if you've come to a final conclusion that the world is unreal and it's basically unimportant, boy, can your life start to fall apart. And your energetic connection to it can start to disappear too. So it's definitely worth realizing, but it's not something you necessarily want to make a permanent home. Because there's also that other instinct for wholeness, which is given voice in the last part of that statement, that teaching. The world is an illusion, Brahman alone is real, the world is Brahman. The world is Brahman is a statement of wholeness. That's the experience. Not just an idea, but somebody who actually experienced, good Lord, the world, which means time and space and things and objects and all that stuff that you discount to get to the transcendent. All of that also ends up to be God. Or if you're a Buddhist, Buddha nature. Or if you're an atheist, it's all the same thing, whatever. It's the experience of it, however. And that's the instinct of wholeness operating. And that's an instinct that's just as important as the transcendent instinct. An instinct to feel deeply whole. But whole ends up to be something much bigger than we imagine. We think of wholeness as limited to our personal experience of being, and we don't really imagine wholeness means the experience of being at one with all of existence. That's a hell of a level of wholeness. Now we can realize that. I'm sure any number of you have had moments when you've realized that, and you've experienced it, some of you, for no doubt about it. And that wholeness is its own kind of homecoming.